Welcome back to Dave's podcast. In the movie Cinema Paradiso, there's a scene where the cinema is packed full of people. The cinema is the centre of the town in the movie. It's set in Sicily in, I think, the 30s and 40s. So a great film actually about cinema and story and a community of people. But there's this one night where the movie is so popular that everyone has come and there's loads of people in the street who can't get in. So what happens is the projectionist, a guy called Alfredo, he decides to project the movie not just into the cinema but outside through the open window onto the building opposite. And that means that the people in the street get to see the film as well as the people inside the cinema. Now, the people inside the cinema have paid to see it, but the people outside are getting it for free. And the mayor and the priest in the town are not happy about this. They want to go out and charge everybody half price for watching it in the street, to which everybody in the street kind of blows a raspberry when they say this. And they say, the whole square is free. The whole square is ours. You cannot charge us for watching the film. I've posted up an extract from a book I did a few years ago called No More Heroes. And No More Heroes was taking 3 Old Testament characters who kind of were a whole mixture of hero and villain, really. There's Solomon and his father David, and there's Cain and his father Adam, and there's Jacob and his father Isaac. So it's about these 3 guys and their dads and their women and their lives. It's a very contemporary kind of story in the style of something perhaps that Tony Parsons might have written, although it's a challenge to write with that calibre. But that was the genre I was aiming it at. So I took these Bible stories, these Bible characters, and I tried to update them, tell them as if they were woven into the fabric of life now. There's a scene in that book where Cain is caught up in a chase, and he finds himself running through this field late at night, and he happens upon a priest throwing a communion meal. And it's not inside a church, and the people coming are actually down and outs, tramps, homeless people, a whole mixture of people who perhaps wouldn't have found themselves inside a church. And he is throwing this meal, this kind of Last Supper, as a way of offering them something good from God. A few years ago I heard a sermon about Jesus and forgiveness, and it really made me think about this whole idea of throwing a communion service for anyone and everyone. Because what Jesus did was he took what had belonged inside the temple, particularly forgiveness. In his day, you went to the temple, you paid your money, you bought the right animal, which then got sacrificed, and then you were forgiven. No, said Jesus, don't bother with any of that. Don't bother with the paying, with the temple, with the animal, with the sacrifice. You can be forgiven right here, out in the streets. It's free. I'm going to forgive you here and now. And he did this on several occasions, and it's no wonder people got really rattled by it, because this was something radical. This was like Alfredo projecting the movie into the street so that everyone could have it for free. It wasn't in the cinema anymore. He'd taken it out of the cinema, put it in the street. Jesus took forgiveness and God's grace and God's help out of the temple, and he brought it into the streets for free. And so I wanted to write this little scene in this book where Cain, who really does need a bit of help and a bit of forgiveness really, he happens upon a priest who's doing a very similar thing. He's taking communion out of the church, away from, if you like, what we might perceive to be sacred, and he's brought it out into the profane, out into the secular, out where anyone can access it for free. That was Dave's podcast. Thanks very much for listening.